Welcome to the Foundry by Forge College. Let's get right into today's explainer, which is all about liquidity provision patterns and orchestration. If you've been following our overarching track on the Solana ecosystem, specifically diving into DeFi, oracles, AI, and applied protocols, you know we're deep in the trenches right now. We are currently in our capstone module, building a fully DeFi-enabled application on Solana. In our previous lesson, mapping theory to smart wallet components, we laid down the foundational architecture. Today, we're taking a massive leap forward. Think of today as the moment we transition from drawing the technical blueprints to actually building the mechanical waterworks for programmatic liquidity. It is time to get the water flowing, hopefully without flooding our virtual basement.
Okay, let's dive into this master schematic. Our agenda today covers the liquidity blueprint, engineering the deposit, position tracking and ledgers, executing controlled withdrawals, orchestrating the swaps, and finally, devnet safety testing. Basically, our goal is to build testable code paths on the Solana devnet without blowing up the plumbing.
Section 1. The Liquidity Blueprint. System Architecture for Solana DEXes.
Our main objective here is to build a reliable, testable liquidity provision module that hooks right into DEXes like Raydium or Orca, perfectly integrated with the swap flows we already have. Now, what's really interesting here is the orchestration coordinator. Imagine an intricate gearbox inside a high-performance engine. This coordinator sequences your swaps alongside your liquidity adjustments, constantly checking available balances. It makes sure your target exposures are preserved without causing those embarrassing transaction failures due to slippage or insufficient funds. It is literally the brains behind the mechanical brawn.
Moving right along to Section 2. Engineering the deposit. Opening the valves.
Picture yourself as an apprentice engineer assembling your very first high-tech fluid dynamic system. Here is exactly how we tighten the bolts to open a position. Step 1, environment and account setup. Step 2, build the deposit transaction, and always do a dry run first so you don't waste precious compute. Step 3, submit, confirm, and read post-state. A huge pro tip for you here, reuse your swap module's Solana connection and signing helpers. Don't go creating duplicate RPC clients. That is exactly how you get leaky plumbing and system lag.
Once you've submitted that deposit and it confirms, you need a receipt. That's your LP token account. This specific account holds your newly minted liquidity provider tokens, which act as a cryptographic claim check proving your ownership of the deposited pool reserves on the DEX. Reading this account post-confirmation is absolutely crucial. It's the only way to verify that your deposit actually worked, that the tokens were minted, and that the water is indeed flowing exactly as you instructed.
Section 3. Position Tracking and Ledgers. The Pressure Gauges.
The assets are flowing, but we need pressure gauges to keep an eagle eye on things so we don't lose track of our liquidity. And this brilliantly illustrates the core tension in any DeFi app. On one side, we have our off-chain ledger, our app's internal fund accounting, our local clipboard tally. On the other side is the on-chain state, the undeniable truth of the Solana blockchain, the actual pool reserves and LP token balances. Our job is to make sure our clipboard perfectly matches the actual tanks of water sitting on the blockchain, because if you're flying blind in DeFi, your wallet goes straight to zero.
To keep those two worlds perfectly synced, we need to capture very specific metadata in our app state. Whenever we make a move, we must log the pool ID, the exact LP token account address, the deposited token amounts, the timestamp, and the confirmed signature. By capturing this exact data, we maintain our fund accounting integrity, and we can seamlessly reconcile our internal balances against the blockchain's truth at any time.
Section 4. Executing controlled withdrawals. Safely releasing the pressure.
Building a robust system isn't just about putting water in. We need to know how to safely trigger a pressure release by getting the assets back out without bursting the pipes. Let's look at how a partial withdrawal works mechanically. Imagine you want to reduce your exposure by a quarter. Your module will construct a transaction to burn exactly 25% of your LP tokens. In exchange for permanently destroying them, the DEX program releases the corresponding underlying assets back into your token accounts. You retain the remaining 75% and your position stays active, just smaller.
So, a partial withdrawal simply means reducing your on-chain LP ownership to decrease pool reserves and increase your destination balances. When this happens, you have to update your app's position record immediately. Actually, scratch that. Let me clarify one thing. If you perform a withdrawal that burns 100% of your LP tokens, well, that position is fully closed. When that happens, you must ensure the record is explicitly marked as closed in your local ledger.
Section 5. Orchestrating the swaps. The intricate gearbox. Let's move on and see how this builds our system. Now we engage that intricate gearbox. If we just swap wildly without adjusting our target liquidity, we suffer from massive slippage amplification. Let's walk through this matrix carefully so we know exactly how each mechanical action shifts the on-chain balances. A deposit uses tokens A and B to increase reserves and mint LP tokens. A withdraw burns LP tokens to decrease reserves and send funds to your destination. A swap uses your token account and the router to decrease token A and increase token B in the reserves. Understanding these shifts is how you prevent your coordinator from throwing a wrench in the gears and causing a failure.
Section 6. DevNet Safety Testing, the final inspection.
You wouldn't hook a brand new plumbing system to the city's main water line without testing it first, right? We have to run these operations incrementally on the devnet before taking our capstone project to mainnet. Here are your strict validation checkpoints. A. Can you get a confirmed programmatic deposit signature? B. Does your position tracking actually reconcile with the chain? C. Do your partial withdrawal balances line up? D. Does your swap coordination actively avoid failures? And E. The all-important fund accounting epsilon match. Your off-chain ledger must match the on-chain state within an acceptable rounding difference, a tiny tolerance we call epsilon. If it doesn't match, you fail the inspection.
So, the crucial point is captured perfectly in this quote. Treat the off-chain ledger as the authoritative intent for funds and reconcile it with on-chain state after every confirmed operation. Seriously, if you take nothing else away from today's explainer, let it be this core engineering principle. Your ledger is your intent. The blockchain is the reality. Constantly reconcile the two.
To quickly summarize our final inspection takeaways, always sequence your swap and liquidity operations explicitly. Rely heavily on your off-chain ledgers as your source of truth for intent, and instrument absolutely everything for debugging. It's exactly this kind of rigorous, robust system design that you'll master by exploring the wider Web3 learning programs and courses available through Forge College. I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. Your module is running smoothly on DevNet. The plumbing holds pressure. But what happens to this delicate gearbox when you take it to mainnet and introduce high-frequency automated rebalancing and aggressive market-making strategies? That is where end-to-end testing becomes a matter of absolute survival. To dive deeper into mainnet deployment strategies and level up your Web3 engineering skills even further, make sure to visit Forge College. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer today, and I'll catch you in the next one.